Woo, woo. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Play It Painted Live. Thanks so much, Cox Communication, for cutting us off at the knee every time we try to get this show on the road. Just want to say my sincere appreciation as a customer of 18 years. How pair your services. Absolutely awful, Cox. And I'm just going to commend you for having a monopoly on our area, just being the horrible service-oriented company that you are. So yeah. So we're gonna keep painting here. Lost a bunch of time there. I think we were offline almost 15-20 minutes. That gave me some time to eat cookies and call Cox. They hung up on me, by the way. So thanks again. And I reset my modem, and we're just gonna see how long this actually stays, stable. I'm painting eyes right now, and I seem to be having problems with cords at my feet. So let me scoot in, because you guys are, I'm gonna paint eyes on camera. It's always a trick, always difficult to paint eyes on camera, especially when the eyes are buried underneath a hat. That's how we do. So I'm not seeing that I'm going live on my YouTube, on the YouTube feed yet, so there could be some more connection issues at hand here. But I'm just going to keep painting because I want to paint. Cox is not going to ruin at least the painting part. They might be able to sabotage this feed, in which case I'm going to apologize to you guys. But they are not going to get to ruin the actual painting part. What are we doing here? Is this thing actually going? There you go. Okay. So we are actually happening. Where's the chat? Uh-oh. There it goes. It didn't look good. Whatever. Just keep painting. Doesn't look good. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. It's okay. Anyway, given that I probably lost a couple of viewers I had, we're just going to paint anyway. So I'm painting in the eyes right now. It's always a little bit more difficult when you've got a hat. One of them has a hat in the way of eyes, but you also have additional challenges, stuff like hair, over one eye or both eyes. For me, the most difficult eyes are when they're really, really concave, like sunken in eyes. That's when it gets really tricky, because a lot of times, like, you may have something slip into you may have the thin watery paint sliding and sloshing around in there. You may have, it's like its own little microcosm if you've got sunken in eyes, and they're just harder to paint. So, but right now we are painting in some eyes for classic Fiametta. So I'm just going to give her pretty simple eyes. These eyes are much smaller than the current plastic Relic Knights model. So I'm just going to give her little eyes like that. I don't know if you guys can see this. You probably cannot yet. That's okay. It actually looks okay. I'm going to give a little bit of black there inside of the mouth, and a little bit of white. And then we're going to get on to like the details of this face, which is it's actually going to be pretty significant. This is a very characterful face, and it's a super fun model, and you want to get it done right. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to bring you guys in even closer here, and we're going to start to work on the skin. Okay, so not doing anything different than I normally do tonight. Just going to be standard paint and chat. Paint and ramble, more likely. I need to find deep skin tone. Okay, so we're going to go. So deep skin tone and basic skin tone. And that's what's on the menu. Okay, so just for you guys that don't watch me paint as often, here's how I do it. So once it's time to start taking the brush to the miniature, I'll paint in the eyes. I do a black outline on the eyes and then white and then dot them in black. And then, because they're kind of like raccoony eyes, then I'll go in and shape the eyes with the deep skin tone. So you can kind of see, finally got a little focus there. So skin and faces usually take the longest for me. That's usually where I spend most of my time getting things right on the model. This model does have a fair bit of skin, and getting the skin nice and smooth and getting your highlights right on the skin is very important to me. So here we go. I guess most painters that are in the GW range, they would be using Dwarf Flesh right now. I'm using Vallejo Game Color Deep Skin Tone, which I think isn't that dissimilar to Dwarf Flesh. So but yeah, again, my goal, make sure I get these coats down nice and smooth, because ultimately, my opinion, the skin and the face are like the most important parts of the miniature, and you don't want to screw them up. Oh, I think I just did. I think I just screwed that up. See if I can correct it. Okay. I think I got a good save. I'm going to do a really, really fine detail on the eyes to get a little bit of that makeup-y look back. Just going to do a couple of dashes. There we go. Just making sure the eyes have that proper eyeshadow effect going. And then I'm going to paint in this skin here. This Fiametta is so cool. I would love to see, one of the talented cosplayers try to take this on. I think it would be awesome. Take on trying to actually get a good Fiametta cosplay going. Because her armor is really cool. And she's got the fun witch hat. And she's just a very expressive character. She's hot-headed and kind of the loose cannon style in the fluff. At least that's how it's only designed to be. So I'm going to paint in the rest of the flesh. This model actually has a lot going on with it, and that's pretty cool actually, because there's lots of opportunities to paint. This is a style of miniature I really enjoy painting. I really like painting these, high quality, high energy models, and I love painting metal. Assembling this model was not very fun. Painting it is going to be pretty awesome. I'm also going to have to figure out how I'm going to do my actual color scheme here. I probably will use black as the complementary color. The studio art has kind of a brown, like a rich chocolate brown as the bordering color. I want to do black. I want to do some cool contrast there. Okay, so that's the first layer of skin down. It's looking pretty good so far. Now we're going to do this is actually the undercoat. I'm going to come back and do the basic skin tone. Basic skin tone. This is a shame because I love this model so much, but like I said, I had a Doctrine faction. I had the original, not the original, the current plastic Fiametta, and obviously the Dark Space Fiametta, which is a beautiful model. I love the Dark Space Fiametta. It's one of my favorite models in the entire range. But I wanted to paint something for fun, and I wanted to another crack at this model now that I'm much more experienced with the Relic Knights range and how to deal with the, working on Infinity actually, top deal more with really finicky metal miniatures because Infinity has quite a few of those. So that built my confidence, and now we're back here painting one of my favorites, one of my classic favorites, Legacy Fiametta. All right, so while I got you guys here, and you guys, when I'm addressing you guys right now, I'm addressing the folks that might be watching this later, because I've got nobody live watching right now. We'll answer the May Painting Challenge question of the day, which is basically week 3 update. How are you doing on your week 3 objectives, and how does that affect your narrative if you are a level 4 participant? So I am a level 4 participant, so I do have that narrative that follows along with my painting goals. Yeah. Anyway, my overall goal for the May Painting Challenge was to finish the complete everything box for my Kickstarter, Forgotten King. So that's Forgotten King, the Boo Booty box, and then the everything box, which is literally the entirety of the Wave 2 models for Forgotten King. And I thought it was a pretty worthy goal. And went through, basically finished the Wave 1 stuff during the boot camp. And then I finished wave 2 somewhere in the middle, I want to say in the middle of week 2 of this challenge. So as far as the primary goal is concerned, we are done. We're at 100%. We hit that, almost a week ago. So now we're in stretch goals, and I'm painting this stuff for fun. And I don't know. I think it's gone pretty awesome so far. I painted a Fulong Devourer, even have an SDE Classic mode commission in, so I've got to paint those. With 11 days left, I'm going to see if I can actually finish painting a classic core set of SDE, because why not? So, yeah, we'll see. So yeah, when you compare that to my actual goals, like this week, I should have been working on the Emerald Valley Warband, but I finished the Emerald Valley Warband like not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before that, they were done. So I've been working on stretch goals since then. How does that affect the narrative? Well, the narrative is just more ambitious now. So 88, when we last left off 88, he and his now full party decided that they wanted to try to make it back to Crystalia, and they journeyed to a place called the Fire Caves. And at the Fire Caves, they were ambushed by the Claw of the Worm, the Claw of the Worm warband, and they were attacked by slimes. They were attacked by like little drakes and their beastmasters and assassins and whatnot. They fought off the Wormclaw Exemplar. They fought off Sir Snapjaw. A surprise kind of twist in there. One of the members of the party, Calico Kate, the pirate, she actually gets carried out of the dungeon by Captain R. So Captain R shows up, says, "Hey, you owe me." And she alludes to it earlier in the video that, she had to sell her ship because she owed somebody. So it's almost kind of like a Han Solo, Jabba the Hutt situation going on here with Captain R. And so Captain R made off with Kate the pirate. Meanwhile, the heroes went ahead and they defeated the Claw of the Worm warband. They defeated Sir Snapjaw, but now they're minus their pirate. But they did manage to save the Terrybrook Mage, who was in the dungeon, and the Terrybrook Mage was the one that actually kind of helped them defeat the slimes. So now they beat the Fire Caves. They're now back on this, making their way for Emerald Valley. So, I mean, you could take my painting goals as an indicator that they've got another big adventure ahead for them in Emerald Valley. But we'll see. We'll see how things pan out. I think it's pretty cool so far. I think it's the narrative has been pretty cool so far. I don't know if you guys know this, but I do the survival roles and all that stuff live while I'm filming, and that actually guides how these stories end. So, if you see something happening to party members, that's usually a reflection of a role I did, literally on the spot there. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, I am going to do a little wash, but I'm going to do a slightly thin wash of Seraphim Sepia. And I'm going to apply this to most of the model as it is right now. So it's basically, I'm doing basically a 50-50 wash Seraphim Sepia in water. And I just want to catch, shadow, that kind of stuff on the skin. So here we go. And then I'll go back to re-highlighting the skin when this dries. But you can see I want it to get in there in the cleavage and It's going to fill in some of the other areas, the armor. It's just going to give me the right amount of shadow. Without killing the bright colors that this model has on her. That's kind of the goal. So it's giving it kind of just enough shadow, kind of a burnt orange shadow. So you still have lots of that fiery color scheme that we were hoping to maintain. It's actually, given I did these highlights with an airbrush, it's giving the whole model a little bit of needed depth. Okay, so this is just basically a 50-50 wash of Seraphim Sepia. Oh shoot, I didn't realize she was backless. So I actually have to paint flesh back here, which I can do quickly because we don't need to. And in fact, I will wash that with a slightly more concentrated version of the wash. When it dries. It's going to take a little while for that to dry. Nope, got a message. I hope it's not about the feed. Like, hey, we can't see you, dude, or I can't figure out what you're painting because you're in too tight or whatever. Oh, got a few. This is probably the wife if it's multiple messages like that. All right. So I'm going to let this dry for a second. I'm going to check that message. And then we'll keep going. All right. Good evening from Virginia. What's up, David? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. We are way behind tonight. Okay, so that had nothing to do with the show. Okay, just checking messages. So yeah, so tonight we're painting classic Fiametta. I'm talking the old metal miniature Fiametta for Relic Knights. And it should be pretty fun. And we're gonna paint this model and just kind of take it from there. I am going to, so this model has some steel portions to it as well. The staff is steel. There's some armor bits here that are steel, and then the base is steel too. So instead of airbrushing it like I normally would, we're going to just use some black gray, and I'm going to go ahead and paint that in. Actually, I don't even know if I should be doing that right now. Well, I guess I can while the wash is drying. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. So David, let us know what you're working on, or if you want. This is what I'm working on. And it's a great miniature. This is a really, really fun miniature. I'll just say that. Okay. So I am gonna go ahead and paint these pads in. These pads are like steel, I think, in the studio art, and I'll do them similar. I'm just painting them black gray right now. I'm going to use a lot of black gray as the trim, so it should all actually match up pretty well. Ooh, I also have a nasty little tag right there that I need to take care of. Started Guild Guard from Malifaux, their new plastic models, and the pieces were tiny. Yeah. I recall some not so fun memories of tiny, tiny pieces in the Malifaux plastics. So, been there, and I feel your pain. All right. So while that wash, it looks like it's going to take a little while to dry. That's okay, because we can work on this stuff. Oh, geez. With the water from the wash, it's actually grabbing the black gray and moving it, and I'm having to clean up after myself here. That's annoying, but fixable. Oh, you don't panic. You're fine. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then also this little piece back here, also black gray. So I'm because we are so far behind, I'm going to move pretty quick. I don't even know that I'm going to be able to finish this miniature, which is kind of sad, but I'll do my best. We'll see how far we can actually get. It was that stupid disconnect that happened. Just ate up too much time getting back online. So, well, whatever. We're here to paint. We're here to have fun. Just going to do that. Okay, so once again, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting tonight. We are working on this lady who is classic Legacy Fiametta, the metal kit from Relic Knights. Super fun model, by the way. I just wish that the wash would dry a little sooner, but hey, what are you going to do? I was the one that thinned down that wash so that I could get it to flow into the spaces I wanted it to. The good news is there's really not a lot to the color scheme of this model. It's at least not the way I'm going to end up painting it. It's going to be just yellow, this fiery yellow and the black. And then I'll do a little OSL here in staff. I may go with a blue flame on her hand for contrast. And then obviously blue hair. And we're good to go. And I also have to, oh geez, looks like I didn't get very much more on the back of the staff. That might get annoying. I hope I have enough on there for it to just grab. Looks okay. We'll just hope for the best and let that go. Okay. So she's looking pretty good. I'm going to take a little, I'm going to pick up some of the excess wash off by quickly running a brush over this stuff. That will help speed up this process and we can continue to work. Okay. And I'm also going to continue my highlighting on the skin. Did I mention I love this model? Very humid today on the East Coast, so spray prime future project of War Machine Menoth and Neverborn crew for Malifaux. Very low humidity, so okay, that's cool. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta take advantage of those windows when they present themselves. So getting these highlights down on the skin. I don't want to over highlight the skin actually. I'm pretty happy with where it is. I just want to have a nice smooth paint job on the skin. And then literally just let this model kind of take care of itself. There's a lot of good little detail on it. So I'll just let the model kind of do its thing. All right, there we go. But all she needs to write, really. I could go up one more color. I probably should. What do you use to prime? I use the Vallejo PVA acrylic primer. So I use all three colors depending on what I'm doing. In this case, I'm just using white primer. But yeah, that's what I use most of the time. If it's a lot of models, sometimes I will actually spray. I'll spray some Rust-Oleum or Krylon black over the models. Like if I'm doing a batch set of models, I'll spray them black, and then I'll come back and do a gray or a white prime using the Vallejo to give myself that little zenith trick that I do. So that's usually how I handle it. So yes, I do still keep a couple of bottles of spray primer around. Stuff like that for terrain, it's always good. Now, the reason why I like those Rust-Oleum, the Krylon primers, is because those things are really, really good at sticking to stuff. They're great for sticking to plastic. They'll stick to metal, and they're cheap, so why not? All right, so next highlight coming down. I think this is going to be it. I think this will be the last highlight I do. I don't think I'm going to do lipstick on Fiametta. I don't think that her facial expression is going to allow me to do that without her looking like the Joker from Batman. So, not going to do it. We're just going to be happy. She's going to not be wearing lipstick. That's kind of unusual for my female miniatures. I usually will paint in the lips, but she's got a big open mouth grin. So there's no point in messing with that. All right. But otherwise, just letting stuff dry. Then I'm gonna go ahead and mount the miniature and start the heavy duty business end painting. And there you have it. Because I got to paint all the little trim, all the little detail. There we go, Fiam. Oh, geez. Look at that. That's a problem. Some of that black gray is still running. on the model. Having a hard time getting that stuff to dry. Anyway, let's continue on with the detail work. Greenleaf terrain. Hey man, what's up? What's up, Adam? How's it going? Painting some classic relic knights. So this is the old the metal kit, not the current plastic kit. I have a problem with the current plastic kit. I just don't think it's as good in terms of a couple of things. I don't think the scale is just weird in the plastics. I think they do it on purpose, but I don't know. The units are usually bigger than the troopers on the in the metal, the Relic Knights plastics. Like Fiammetta is a huge looking model. She looks like she would be like a She-Hulk size compared to the novitiates, and she's a cool sculpt, but I don't really want that. And I don't like the pose nearly as much as I like the pose on this version. So that's what I wanted. I'm using her, and I'm using Takawashi miniatures to be my doctrine. Because why not? You know, there's so many. Ninja Division between Soda Pop and Cypher has access to some really good models, and then, quite frankly, you know, some of their plastic trooper models for Relic Knights just a snuff. So I use like Anima Tactics minis to replace them. I use Takawashi University. And yeah, that's what we do. So I'm still doing some. The detail on this is fine, and you've got to go in and pick it out. You're very careful about picking it out. So that's why I still haven't mounted this model, because I need to be able to get to the little nooks and crannies of this model and paint in that black bordering. That's fairly important. So what are you working on, Greenleaf? Are you working on any more Infinity, or do you have any terrain sets on commission that you're working on? Be curious to know. Why am I off frame? I'm in bad habits tonight. I have to bring the model. Actually, let's go up just a hair. So I've got room to fit my hands in here. So yeah, now I've got to go in and do all this border work on the outfit. Got a little chip there that I have to address as well. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Again, just painting up a classic mode Fiammetta. No real topic tonight. I'm just kind of rambling. I guess I can talk a little bit about what we've got going on this weekend. We have in LA, we have Strategicon GameX. So this is the second of 3 gaming conventions held in the Los Angeles airport area. These are part of the Strategicon family of conventions. So local con, you know, it's not a big con. I'll say anywhere from 1,500 to maybe just under 2,000 attendees. So yeah, it's a fun little local con. I like to go to all 3, but I usually only do a day for each. This is GameX, and this is actually my birthday weekend, so I elected to do 2 days ago. Friday, run some Forgotten King on Friday night, and then Saturday I'm doing a Relic Knights tournament. So that's my upcoming weekend. Really looking forward to just getting the time off, the extra off. It's a holiday weekend for us here in the States. And my birthday always falls on the holiday weekend. So I'm used to, I take a little extra day off, make it a 4-day weekend for me, and just enjoy it. So with all that Forgotten Wave 2 stuff that I painted, it should be pretty fun. So even if people at Strategicon have Forgotten King, they'll get to play some of the Wave 2 stuff that they may not have access to yet. So that should be fun. So yeah, this character has a really fun like pattern in her her costume. I love it. Like a little fiery. Okay, so let's see. Working ruins for my mini wargaming. Did 1-to-1 scale weapons recently. Nice. Yeah, I saw. I didn't watch the video, but I saw the preview for the 1-to-1 scale weapon, and I was like, oh man, I need to check that out. I'm a bit behind on watching all the YouTube videos that I want to watch. Part of that's for the the May painting challenge. I'm trying to keep up with projects that I've been kind of personally following. And so some of the other subscriptions suffer a little bit. I'm playing 300 Point Infinity tourney on Sunday. Oh, good luck, man. What are you playing? A left? What action are you going to be playing? I really need to play a little bit more Infinity. Infinity is just kind of on the fringe for me. It's a fun game. I love painting the miniatures. That's for damn sure. But I don't play the game very much, and I gotta be honest. The game is just it's a little. How do I say this? How do I say this without trying? Because I'm not trying to sound offensive or whatever. It's a little too standard war game. I mean, it's a fun enough game, and yeah, I agree, it's a fun game. It's just for me, I'll play it. I want to play it with fun people. I don't want to play Infinity competitively. So, I try to keep the points small. I keep my my builds, small, and usually just fill them with minis that I have the most fun painting and collecting. And then just kind of enjoy it for that. So I would guess what I'm trying to say is I'm a I consider myself to be a very, very casual Infinity enthusiast / player. But the game really is taking off locally. And so we've got some people at the local shop that are playing Infinity. We play Infinity, but we play a lot of this game, Relic Knights, as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. It could end up that the Infinity players pick up a little Relic Knights army, and they play Relic Knights as their secondary game, and they play Infinity as their primary game. And I play it the opposite way. I play Relic Knights as my primary game and play Infinity as my secondary game. That's fine. Let's see, Ariadna. Okay, cool. Cool. Are you playing one of the sectorials, or are you playing generic? Yeah, I don't care, mate. I am getting more into games as my business is going well. That's awesome, man. I'm glad your business is going well. I don't know if you remember this or not, Adam. I believe I was one of your very first subscribers to your channel back when it was called Mini Terrain. And I used to watch, I think you and your cousin play Malifaux battle reports. And I was huge into Malifaux myself. And I think it was like your channel. You started your channel like around the same time I started mine, and then so I was watching your channel for Malifaux battle reports because you were one of the only guys doing them early on. It was like you, Desperate Mercenaries. I did a couple. So yeah, I remember that. That was the start of it, and I remember you doing your first commissions, your first pieces. That was really awesome. It's really cool to see, that your business is doing well, and that you're doing something that you really love to do. That's awesome. I'm envious, dude. And I know it's sometimes it can get dicey, if you're not getting commissions in, but it's still really awesome just to know that you're doing well, and it's great to see you checking in this channel, watching me paint. So, okay. So yeah, what do you think? Here's her so far. Is looking pretty cool. Very vibrant color scheme. I don't know, that standard looking fire looks pretty cool. I might leave it like that instead of the blue like they have on the studio art. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna keep painting in these things. I'm gonna have to pull it off. Sorry, gotta pull it off screen here so that I can actually. I don't want to screw up the hat. There's just a lot of intricate parts to this miniature, and that would severely bum me out that if we got this far and I worked up the hat trying to keep it in frame. All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, I consider myself to be a fairly avid YouTube watcher. I don't get to do as much of it as I'd like, but yeah, I recall that the channels that leave an impression on me because I liked what the person was doing. Obviously, your channel I followed for a while. I didn't even know that that you were friends with Viv for the longest time. And then, he throws a couple of shout outs your way, and people are like, oh my God, this channel's awesome, which is great. Let's see. Yeah, man, I follow the community. I love it all. Yeah, it's great. Big fan of a lot of the and especially with the War Boss challenge going on, we're seeing all these like people starting up channels from nothing, and it's really cool kind of discovering the new kids, the new talent coming on. I was just talking about Daniel Sprinkle, who's one of my favorites right now because he does that. He does a paint and ramble type of format when he does his videos. Hobby Habit is awesome because that guy does some crazy fun narratives. Hobby Habit, Mortis Causer, those guys do some really cool just narratives for their painting and their project. Then you've got other guys that are just super supportive of everybody in that community. So you got like Corey Ling, Joshua Durand, you've got Jam Jar 34. These are guys that that really take the time to come and comment on videos. They watch as many videos as possible. They promote you, and let's just being candid here. Most of these channels don't have are around the 100 or fewer subscription mark. These are brand new channels, and I don't really need. My channel isn't huge, but I have more subs than they do. I don't really need like shout outs and stuff like that. I just love that these guys are watching. I think that's awesome, and I love watching their stuff too. Idic Beer has more subs than me, and he's just a class act. He watches a lot of videos, he comments on a lot of videos, he shows support. So it's just seeing stuff like that, which is awesome. So yeah, let's see. Going for an anime look. Yes, I am. Hello, hey, what's up, Tori? I lived with Viv for a while. We were still good. Yeah, Viv is awesome. He hasn't put up a video recently, but he still put dates on his Facebook and all that. So yeah, I mean, who hasn't been on YouTube for a while and isn't a Viv fan? Honestly, the guy can. It's funny because it's like he can do no wrong, because it's like Viv himself is so entertaining that it doesn't really, we don't really care what he's working on, as long as he's updating us on on it, right? So brewing beer, that's an awesome other hobby. Have spin casting. um he he was making shields for a while. That's awesome. I'm like, what do we like? Who picks your hobbies, Viv? Do you just suddenly show up and you just decide, oh, I'm gonna make shields today, and you just make, that was like my shitty Australian accent, by the way. And then you just make shields, and it's fantastic. But yeah, Viv is awesome. So, and I know he's gonna go through a phase where he does like, I got it. Part of the problem. There we go. Just a little bit better perspective on this. There we go. Yeah, I know he's gonna come back and throw down a bunch of vids and all that. So I'm not worried that that we're not going to see any more Viv videos for a while. I'm sure he's going to come back. It's really not a big deal. So yeah, and that's how it works with some of your favorite folks on YouTube, some of your favorite channels or whatever, content creators. Minutes on the Sun is another guy that that I love to watch on YouTube. He's just a really talented dude. He lives about 2 hours north of me, and it'd be awesome for us to meet up, maybe get in some gaming or whatever, just have a couple beers. He's got a little boy who's a little bit younger than my son, and so we kind of have that thing in common, and like we check up on each other and our kids and all that. So that's awesome. And phenomenal talent, great sculptor, just a class act, really humble guy. He really does deserve. I mean, there's another guy. I think, similar to you, Adam. I think he could really go out and kind of chase his little dream of doing sculpting, miniature sculpting. I think he'd be phenomenal at it. So, yeah, Tori, I am painting the mini I purchased the other night. So, yes, this is the miniature in all its glory. I think I remarked to you that you have to be kind of insane or stupid to buy the metal Fiametta, knowing that there is a Fiametta who's way easier to build and a little bigger. But I specifically wanted this because I love the details on this sculpt, and it's a fun paint. It's a terrible build. Six of the tiniest pins you'll ever see, or in this case, not see. I put on here. Just get her to not explode when you pick her up. I remember when back in my 40A days, when the miniatures were lead, or they just started to come out in computer, and we didn't know what pinning was, so we just glued metal on metal and hope for the best, and that shit would just explode all the time. And so you'd always have super glue on you, and like any good hobby idiot, when the pieces came apart, you just slapped the super glue right on it. You wouldn't clean off the previous layer. You didn't pin. Is anybody else guilty of this other than me? But you used to just do that, and this crust would form on the miniature, and you didn't care. You're like, as long as it stayed together, I can't stay, man. Need to sleep 1:30. Here, have a good night. Hey, good night, dude. Good. Yeah, for sure, man. Want to hopefully we get to see another update from your channel soon, because your stuff is awesome. And I wish I had some terrain building skills. Pretty terrible at building terrain. I'm pretty good at buying terrain. Pretty good at building it, though. Let's see. Oh, okay. Sorry, was writing a message over to Adam. Okay, so here we go. Actually, believe it or not, this miniature is getting pretty close to finished. I'm going to start painting in the hair. Hey, let me ask you guys this. See that? Ugh. Come on, man. Here we go. Let me ask you guys this. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Focus. You see that? See the fire effect there? The fireball? Change that to a blue fireball, or does it look cool as it is? I sprayed it that way just because I happen to be spraying, the base coats down, but it doesn't have to stay that way. And in fact, the studio art's a blue fireball. I don't know. I'm open and to hear opinions on the matter. Meanwhile, I need to ding the hair. So, okay, guilty, David Luff. Yeah, David's an old timer like me. He probably, you still see some of the guys that are more gamer than hobbyist. They still do stuff like that. They'll just slap it together and not pin it. It makes me cry a little inside because it's like, oh, that poor miniature is gonna get busted up, and it's mostly like, I noticed here press guys will do that, and they'll run their jacks up the middle of the board with no arms and like half a leg missing, no weapons, and they're like, yeah, because it busted off in the previous game or whatever. And I'm in no position to judge because I did that myself when I was doing when I before I really started getting into the building painting side. Okay, looks great. Blue would stand out. Okay, let's try it. I'm gonna paint in the electric blue for the hair for now, and I'll carry it over, and we'll just keep painting this, and we'll see where it goes. Yeah, she's looking pretty good. She's just a fun model. I'm not gonna highlight the black because I'm gonna highlight the non-metallic metal parts, but that's about it. And I noticed I've been using my detail brush pretty much this entire time because the detail is quite fine on this miniature. So some blue here. So my tentative plan, before I get too deep into the blue. No, it's fine. Let's do the blue. We'll correct. We've got to correct a couple of spots, but we'll do that in a minute. So yeah, I'm gonna paint the hair electric blue, and then I'm gonna wash it so that it ends up bigger. Pretty cool. So yeah, I actually am pretty close to the studio scheme. All right, so now let me finish doing the hair. I have a confession to make. That was a new there was a new Encore miniature on Kingdom Death, so I purchased it. Yeah, I want to get the Kingdom Death pinup set. I do want to get that for me. At some point, I'll crack and I'll get it. I still have to paint my Twilight Knight from Wrath of Kings. And I'm wondering how many Twilight Knight miniatures I have thus far. I have one for Eldorado, I have one for Super Dungeon Explorer Forgotten King, and then I'm going to paint the one for Wrath of Kings. And then I should probably just get the actual Twilight Knight for her custom Kingdom Death. So that would be 4 Twilights. Got the blue hair coming in. If I do blue, see the base there, the little venting on the base? I'm going to do that same like blue. So this model actually doesn't have a lot of different colors to it, and that's kind of the beauty, is a limited color palette, because this combination is so striking that I think it's going to look fantastic. I don't know, she already looks pretty fun to me. And I have another message on my phone. I'm going to check that in a minute. Finish with this color first. The other cool thing about painting this color is because it's a lighting effect, you can be just a little bit sloppy with it. It's not gonna kill you. So I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna step up in color here. Okay, so that doesn't look so hot right now, but we'll fix it. All right, so let's let this dry for just this. Checking my messages. Okay. My wife is texting me this awesome revelation. We didn't know this. So anyways, Napoleon Dynamite was on tonight. And yeah, I admit, I liked Napoleon Dynamite. I thought it was funny. A lot of people think it's stupid. I don't care. I think it's funny. Anyway, and so the Uncle Rico character kind of, he just kind of struck us familiar, and he's really funny, kind of a perv character almost in ways, just kind of trapped in the past and all that. But she kept wondering if his hair was a toupee or whatever, wig. And so she kept looking at him, and she thought she recognized him. And it turned out she was right, that he wasn't, that the actor played Laszlo from Real Genius. Laszlo was the guy that lived in the closet, that was the actually smarter than the Val Kilmer character in the forget the other kid's name. The kid that I think he's like Jessica Parker's brother or whatever. That weird looking kid. Yeah, so anyway, fun fact of the evening. That's fun. I'm going to tell her that while that's drying, I'm going to tell her that I shared that with the viewers. Okay, cool. The shared that one. I hate the autocorrect. The viewers. Cool. All right. So far so good. So now we're gonna now I need her So I need that glacial blue from, I could do like this kind of blue. That's not bad, but I really want the glacier blue in color. There it is. So I'm gonna go glacier blue. And I made wet blending for the fireball, just to give myself a little bit of, so that I've got a decent looking transition, a gradient, if you will. Okay, so here we go. Haven't seen the movie. Oh, you haven't seen, I'm sure David's seen Real Genius. So a movie back in the 80s starring Val Kilmer. It had that one actor Frozen, Die Hard. We call him Dickless. I don't know the name of the actor, but he was one of the favorite like bad guy types in the 80s. He was always playing kind of that jerk character. And he's the corrupt professor in the movie. Oh, Real Genius. 80s movies. I'm going to do that. There we go. Do a little more white here towards the bottom. There we go. What do you think? Cool? Cool, cool? Okay. And then I'm going to paint in the inner parts of the vents, this white, so it looks like it's kind of glowing. And then I'm going to use a little fluo blue, kind of blend it together. There, not too bad. See, it looks really stark right now, but once I start to do the other highlights, it'll start to come. Yep, in the theater. I'm so old. Yes, I also saw Real Genius in the theater. So you're not the only old person, so don't feel as bad. We're both old. All right. So now, gonna take this black gray. I'm gonna add a little bit of white to it. It's gonna become the next part of the highlight here for the non-metallic steel. I know of it. I just haven't seen it. In the 80s, my parents used to own a VHS rental store way before Blockbuster started. Nice. I remember those old video shops and picking up your video, whatever you wanted to watch for the weekend. Some people might have been picking up porn. I was too young to do anything like that. But, you know, I had a Blockbuster card and all that. I had a membership at the mom and pop video shop. So that's fun. Yeah, Real Genius. It's I don't know. It has its moments. It has memorable moments. I don't know that it's worth like actively going out and watching. I think it's one of those things that out of curiosity, it shows up on TV one day and you leave it on. That's my take on it. I remember the old Val Kilmer Real Genius and Top Secret, and those movies that he did in the 80s, which were comedy type stuff that he did. Cool. So just doing highlighting the non-metallic stuff. $50 fine for not rewinding tape. Yes. Oh man. I remember when they started renting PlayStation games and all that. Borrow PlayStation games from the Blockbuster, and you would get hooked on the game, and you just keep serially renting it. You'd go again, and you'd go back and go, okay, I want to rent this again. And instead of dropping it in the Dropbox, you would basically hand it to the guy. You let him ring you out for another 7 days or whatever, and then walk out of there because you were desperate to finish the first Resident Evil or whatever, and you had it saved on your memory card, and you just couldn't sleep at night until you completed the. Those were the days, man. I remember that. Remember when they left nerds alone? We could just enjoy that kind of stuff and over analyze or whatever. I remember those days. Miniature gaming too. No one even knew of miniature gaming. Like, what the hell is that? When you and yeah, I was miniature gaming back when Blocker was around, playing 40K and all that. Those were the days, man. I don't care. Go ahead and call me old. That's what we did. Yeah. Those were the days. Those were simpler times when no one knew what the hell an Eldar was. No one knew the word. If you said space to somebody, they would think aliens, and they should. They should rightfully be thinking aliens when they say Space Marine. GW, despite its lawsuits, does not own the word Space Marine. They have a trademark on the whole Space Marine. Their Space Marine, but not the words Space Marine. So I know that controversy is a few years old, but yeah. Yeah, renting videos. What did we do? We used to rent videos from Blockbuster, including video games. We used to we used to play trivia. We used to go to the bowling alley and play trivia on those. What are those things called? It was like a little keypad that you had, and they would play they would have these trivia questions up at the bar, and you answer, and you put your little name in, and then it shows screen who got it right, who didn't, and you play these little trivia contests with people at the bar. That was fun. I remember that. In fact, Tori, the other night after we left, we went over to Slater's 50/50 across the street from CQ, because Gareth and me and Jose went to get a drink. And they had trivia going on there, and I thought that was awesome. I was like, man, we should come by here and play trivia because we're nerds. We could probably beat at least half of them in the Slaters because we were getting the answers correct on this stuff. So that's fun. It's good times. Started with historicals, 15mm Napoleonics. Wow. Now, we're in Southern California. Back in the 80s, I don't ever recall seeing anyone playing historicals. The very first miniature game I've seen was, I want to say, Fantasy Warriors from Grenadier Miniatures. I don't know if you recall Fantasy Warriors, that line, but they had Julie Guthrie, they had Mark Copplestone as their sculptors and painters. And that was the deal, man. That Hero Quest, everybody remembers Hero Quest. And then obviously, Warhammer 40K. playing the Rogue Trader. That was fun. Okay, so looking pretty good so far. Still need another highlight of the steel. So we're just going to keep rocking until she's done. Looks like, I mean, we're getting pretty close point. She's looking pretty good. I'm half tempted to try a yellow glaze on her to bring the yellow tone up, but I probably, if I do that, it's probably not going to happen tonight. That's kind of an extensive get in and start trying to do something like that. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. All right, next layer of non-metallic steel is up, and we're going to pick and choose points, right, as you would. You know, I've never played for the miniature games that have humanoid miniatures, humanoid models, or played anything below standard 28. I guess classic GW was 25, so that counts, I guess. But anyway, never anything lower. I've never played 10 millimeter, never 6, 20. I suppose I would if I actually had time to play more games that I like. People are constantly trying to get me to play and it can get dizzying after a while. It's looking pretty good. Ooh. It's kind of a clumsy application there. I don't know that I like that. I'm gonna have to even it out some. Okay, cool. And give this almost just a little bit of dry brush around the outsides here so that you can see that the lighting has some effect. Pretty cool. Historical's a Midwest and East Coast thing. I don't know. It might just be the particular area I grew up in. I grew up in the Inland Empire, which, I mean, compared to Orange County, is somewhat backwater. You know, we're talking, you know, higher crime rate, not the worst place to live, but definitely not the best place to live. And only Bob's out there, RC being the big one, and you know, recre drugs, I guess. So, yeah, I don't think it just wasn't miniature gaming. Modeling was a thing. People built scale model kits and that kind of stuff. But then, you know, on the extreme end, you might have the odd miniature war gamer. But we were very few and far between. In fact, at Ren Fair, I ran into one of the very first guys I did miniature wargaming with, and he's still in the area. One of the he owned a shop for a while. I don't really see him at the tournaments or anything like that, but he's still around. He's still somewhat really active in the wargaming community. Where is my fluo blue? Huh. I guess not. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and wash this bad boy. I'm going to wash the hair, and I'm going to wash it with this Drakenhof Nightshade. Well, I want to do, hold on. I just want to do a little bit of a lighting effect around this, the center of the staff. That's all. I'm trying to keep it subtle and not crusty. There we go. Let's do the other side. Okay. Cool. Okay, now we can wash the hair. Actually, I want to get in right there. A lot of tight angles. Well, the way the hair attaches to the witch hat, a lot of tight angles in there. It's not the best, but it looks kind of cool. Let's go ahead and start applying our wash. I need to find that fluo blue to do the lighting at the model. So now we're doing the Drakenhof shade wash. Oh, I have to do the bandage there that's connecting two pieces of the hair. Need to do that. To paint that. I'm going to paint that more like a true bandage, so I'll paint it Iraqi sand. Throw a little wash on it. Yeah. I don't think I will be bringing this model to GameX because she's technically going to be the only Doctrine model I own at the moment. So it wouldn't make sense to try to play her unless I miraculously finish the Kisa model that I'm trying to convert. I would have to finish that model tomorrow night, and that's not going to happen because tomorrow night I'm going to spend packing for GameX. So it's not done tomorrow night. I'm just painting this lady here for fun. And she is very fun to paint. So, okay. Just doing a little highlight on the armored knees. Then I need to actually come in and touch up a little of this yellow. So I need, we'll use a little of this yellow ochre because it's not a dead match, but it should at least blend some of the colors together. I need to use it to touch a couple of areas on the model. There we go. There. Just about done. Very fun miniature. I might have to take an R&D from MPC to prepare my mother's birthday. That's nice. That's awful nice of you. So Mother's Day and her birthday this month. Hopefully you're doing two separate things. Like some folks that just want to do one thing this month. It's like, the kid that has his birthday around Christmas and he doesn't get a separate recognition or whatever because his parents are like, it's Christmas. We're going to get you one set of presents. You're not going to have a birthday party. You're going to have a Christmas party. And I see both sides of that argument, but it's just kind of a bummer to have that happen your birthday. Like the female models with witches, hats, or carrying sides like Rain from Anima Tactics. Yeah. Yeah, Rain is pretty sick. I haven't painted her. I want to. Should pick one up and paint it. Because that's a great, everyone talks about maybe doing Rain as a Ruby model. You paint her like, what's her name? Ruby from the show Ruby. Why not? That'd be kind of cool. Doing a really, really light white edge highlight on the staff. Just gives it a little more of a metallic look. And then it can go, looking too flat, I can hit it with like armor wash or something. I think it looks pretty good though. It's not complaining about how this looks. There you go. Okay. Sorry, I've been like out of almost all. Great show, Ruby. Yeah. My wife loves that show. I like the show. The guy had lived long enough to do more of it, but I do like the show. I thought it was fun. I like the I like the voice. The choice of the voice actors was really good for Ruby. And some anime fans are going to turn up their nose at Ruby because it's not technically a true anime or whatever. I don't care. It's fun. It's a fun cartoon. Well, whatever you want to call it, animated feature. It's not, it's not 2D cell animated, but who cares? Again, very fun show. I like the characters. The aesthetics were cool. So what are you going to do? I like the show. Who was your favorite of Ruby? I don't know. Weiss is kind of a bitch, but I don't know. I think she's cool. There's something about her that I like. I really like Yang, and I think a lot of people like Yang. Yang is she's cheerful and she's kind of the party girl. She knows what's a little bit of a tomboy. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who's your favorite Ruby character? I don't know. For me, it's a tie between Weiss and Yang. And they're very different. See, they're very different characters. But I don't know. My wife doesn't. My wife likes. I forget her name. But my wife likes Weiss, and she also liked Ruby. Obviously, she did not care for Yang as much as I care for Yang. So I don't know. Yang is your favorite too, yeah. Yeah, Yang is fun, man. She's the if we're talking like nerd fantasy here, she's the one that would end up playing miniature games with us. Now I ran into somebody that was trying to make a game based on Ruby. Thought that was cool. We'll see if he actually gets it off the ground or not. I was like, "You're gonna handle licensing," and he kind of shut up. But he seemed pretty intent on looking at something like that, and he wanted help as far as like rules design and miniature painting and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, and most of the time when you get that kind of inquiry from somebody, they generally want it for free. And if the guy was a friend of mine or whatever, like Adam over at Parallax, I'll do stuff for free for Adam because he's my buddy. But I'm not gonna, with all due respect, I'm not gonna just do that for a stranger. I'm gonna be like, hey, I'll paint your I'm going to paint all your prototype minis for you, and you can get to display them, and I'll plug you on my site or whatever. I'm not going to do that for a stranger. So I don't know. Sorry for derailing us, but yes, I did like Ruby. My wife wants to watch. She's missing like the last 40 minutes of Ruby from the whatever you want to call it, the season 2 or the second part of the series. She's missing that. Oh, I totally forgot to do the bandages again. Let's do that. What did I say? Iraqi sand? I said I would do Iraqi sand and I'd give it a wash and we'd call it a day. I'm down with that plan. I like that plan. All right. Oh, shoot. I did not seal. I sealed a bunch of miniatures and I did not seal my Wolf Rider. Well, I'll seal her tomorrow, I suppose. I've got to pack all that stuff, so I got to make sure she's sealed up before I throw her in the KR case and do that. There's a problem. Once you paint the black lip, you feel like you're not allowed to paint the miniature anymore. Do you guys feel that way? I know I do. When I paint the black 30 mil lip, I'm like, I'm not allowed to touch this miniature anymore because painting that lip signifies that I'm done with the model. But I totally forgot this little wraparound bandage here for the gigantic ponytail. Just a lot of weird angles on this mini. I don't even know like what you guys can see if this actually looks like a good miniature to you guys or not. And I apologize. I'm kind of all over the frame here tonight. I don't know. I couldn't get the camera to sit exactly where I wanted it to tonight. I don't know why I struggled so. There's really no reason for that. Anyway, let me see. Also, while I'm at it, let me see if I can find that little fluo blue that would allow me to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stick this. I'm gonna have to stick the Wolf Rider out here where it's blatantly obvious. That way I don't forget to seal it before I put it away. That's not it. I guess it's... All right, so I guess I'm going to do this light sea blue. And I'm going to, even though it's an airbrush grade, I'm actually going to thin it just a little bit more. Uh-oh. So my viewership dropped to 0. Wonder if I lost connection or whatever. Anyway, let's... Cool. All right. So there we go. Let's see if I can actually get the miniature to show up well in any kind of reasonable photography type setting, camera angle, whatnot. But there she is. She's done. I don't think there's real to do on the miniature. She is done. Oh, there's one more thing to do, but I'm not going to do it. It actually looks okay without. I was going to run a little bit. Actually, I will run just a little bit of wash, a little sort of wash on the little bandage stuff, and that's it. We're done. Done. Like that. I'll even run a little here. Give that a little shadow. There we go. Fun. Model looking great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't really have anything left to do on the model. She's actually, that's pretty much where she's gonna be. So I'm gonna put all this stuff up. I'm gonna see if we can have a look at her without too much difficulty. So here we go. Let's see if the model will actually, see if my camera will actually focus. Come on. I think there's like a sweet spot here. Can't get the detail on the face because the hat is in the way. Huh, that's annoying. But yeah, that's her. That Yameta. storing this model, probably going to be a nightmare. You can imagine with this being metal, how skinny that joint is at the tip of the staff. More than likely going to snap at some point. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe she just hangs out in here. Maybe she just hangs out in this room and I'm gonna don't use me because I may break. So yeah. What else do I have to paint this week? Well, I think that's going to do it this. Like I said, I'm going to be packing. If I do painting, I'm just going to spoil it for you since you're watching live. My idea is this, right? So, so on the other video, I had this relic knight. This is Kisa and Scratch. And I built the relic without the rider. The rider's over here somewhere. I don't like the rider. What I want to use as the rider is I want to use a Takawashi miniature. So I want to use this miniature, Kiba-chan, because she's a cat. And Kisa is a cat model also. Now you can see the way she's posed, she's kind of leaning over this giant ball of yarn. And I'm looking at that and going, okay, well, this model has that angle to where if I did it right, this model, where her hands are, would be basically the front of the saddle here. And so she'd be leaning over it that way and kind of standing on her toes, or standing on her feet on top of, as opposed to the Kisa rider mirror, which I don't know, where is the Kisa rider miniature? I just had it. So here's the, it's not fully assembled, but here's the Kisa rider miniature. And the way she normally goes is you basically just glue her, you arbitrarily glue her like that so that she sits on the saddle that way. And the artwork for it is fantastic. The actual miniature is somewhat horrific. There's no real detail on the face, and it's super fiddly. Here's the staff. So here's the staff, and that you're supposed to take that and glue that like this somehow. You basically shove that in here into this peg, and you have her holding her staff up like this, and it's a nightmare. I owned this model for a long time, and I ran demos with the model. And don't get me wrong, the relic is awesome. The relic is worthy of praise and very Voltron-like. You know, what's not to like? The rider is just all kinds of wrong, and that's why I want to replace the rider. So I would replace the rider with the Kiba-chan Takawashi miniature. Here's the Kiba-chan miniature. Now check this out. Now, one issue with the Kiba-chan miniature is, again, these Takawashi miniatures, they're kind of finicky, fiddly. So you've got both arms and you've got the tail attached to this sprue, and you gotta. So I would be looking to pin both of those arms onto this. This is the body of the miniature. I actually can't get her to focus, but you can tell from the art that she's leaning forward. So she's leaning forward like that, and she would, I guess the way this would work is she would lean here. I can clip the tab off. Let me do that. I'm just going to clip the tab off. And really quickly give it a nice once-over file down. So a little file real quick. I'll give it a more thorough job as I build, but yeah. So anyway, so here's the model. I'm going to show it this way so you guys can see. Here's the side of the relic. She would go that basically, like she's standing on top of it. Her arms would be leaning out and down, and she would be resting her arm in front of the miniature. And so I think it's going to be kind of cool. I hope it works. I hope it works the way I want it to work, because I think it's going to be kind of cool. Then I basically just, yeah. So I'll be doing that as opposed to this. And you know, who would you rather have piloting your awesome lion thing? Would you rather have this like hard to distinguish detail model, or would you rather have Kiba-chan here that has a much more anime aesthetic than the other model? So that's my little conversion, or at least my idea for a little conversion. So I'll be working on that probably after I get back from GameX. I'll also be working on the Super Dungeon Explorer core set at some point too, because either way, if the client wants to take the one that I've already painted, the purple set, they can take it, and I would just backfill my own set, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, so yeah, we're done with our miniatures. So I think if there's no other like question or comments or anything like that, I think we're going to end our feed here. So yeah, let me just reload, see if there's any actual YouTube comment, what was showing up in the chat. No. Anyway, let me give you guys one last look at Fiametta here. I will try to photograph her so we can actually see what she looks like. But yeah, that was fun. Very fun miniature. Man, I'm so terrified about this right here. I hope that survives. Anyway, that's going to do it for this. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.